One. Hi, hello. Come on in. Have a seat. My name is Amy Villardo. I'm the mayor of Milford, and I want to welcome everyone here tonight for a discussion about local government funds. So we are trying our best to be as transparent as possible. As such, we are doing this in person. We are doing this on ICRC. We are live on Facebook, and we are on a Zoom call. So for those of you that are participating via Facebook Live or Zoom, we are going to do our best, mainly me, to monitor your comments on Facebook Live. But if you are on Zoom right now, we will address your comments at the end of the presentation. We'll get to the audience and then the Zoom. I'll be back watching to see who has a question. We'll just ask you to unmute yourself and ask your question at that time. Please, if you are on Zoom, these speakers are live. So if you are not muted, we will be able to hear you. So we will mute you if we need to, but please just monitor yourself. At this time, I would like to introduce the mayor of Loveland, Kathy Bailey. She'll be making his presentation tonight. And once again, I thank all of you for coming. And I hope there are some good questions and some good discussion tonight. So thanks very much. Mayor Bailey.
Thank you, Amy. Welcome, everyone. I am the mayor of Loveland. I'm also the current president of the Claremont County Mayors Association, which is why I'm giving this presentation. I want to thank John Thibault, mayor of Batavia and former immediate past president of the Mayors Association, for letting us do this here, and all his work in getting everything up and going. Amy Villardo also, she and her staff did a lot getting this all, everything through Zoom and Facebook tonight, and ICRC, and also Travis Dotson from Bethel. Thanks for all your help with all of this. So we all already sort of know what the local government fund is. Just kind of an explanation of why you are all here, and I'll get to that in more depth, but it is for a discussion. We are one Claremont County, but we seem to be townships and villages and cities, and that apparently has been the case for quite a while. I'm relatively new to the political scene in Claremont County, but we wanted to come together and propose a different solution to this local government fund and do it in a way that was transparent and was as inclusive as possible. So we did send invitations to every single city, village, mayor, and council member, and every township trustee throughout Claremont County. So there were over 100 invitations that have been sent out. So those of you that are here tonight, whether present physically or through the system, thank you for being here. Appreciate it very much. Just a little history. As we all know, this local government fund actually started in 1934 and allows the state of Ohio to share state tax revenues with local governments. And it's each county budget commission that is responsible for distributing those funds. Claremont County has adopted an alternative method. There is a statutory method, but for, I think it was 35 years, we had the same system. And that was changed, as we know, in 2019. Up till 2019, it was the Board of County Commissioners, City of Milford, and a majority of all the other entities that each had a vote. In 2019, there was a little bit of a coup of sorts. Township Association developed an alternative formula, and they executed their right under the statute to exclude Milford from having its own vote. I know Milford was invited to that township meeting. I know Loveland was not, and it's my understanding that there were no villages that were invited to that meeting. Townships did pass that resolution for a new formula. And my understanding of that was that it is 25% is evenly developed, or I'm sorry, is divided. So they take the full amount that the Board of County Commissioners gives to the rest of us, and 25% is evenly divided among all cities, villages, and townships under this current township model. 75% is based on population. Not surprisingly, this formula was detrimental literally only to cities and villages, and every single township gained pursuant to that new formula. The Mayors Association did go to the Board of County Commissioners and plead its case at that time. We asked for a pause that we could get together and have a collaborative meeting because we were not invited to discuss this new formula, and felt like something this important, and being all part of Claremont County, it would have been nice if we all were invited to have that discussion. That didn't happen. We were actually told by the board to come up with a different plan and to collaborate. So that's why we're here tonight. This is why we invited everyone. This was the whole purpose. Is we did come up with a plan which we think is more equitable, and we want to hear from townships and have a meaningful discussion about whether or not what you think about that plan. We sent this email out on the 10th of March, inviting everyone, like I said, over 100 participants to this meeting, including all township trustees. Made it very clear there's no secret. This was a pretty lengthy email, and we had all the charts attached telling you what we were thinking. That was on March 10th. 6 days later, Trustees Association sent their own letter. Again, we didn't get one. I know of one village that did. I don't know of any others. Went to the townships, strongly urging that the townships all adopt the current plan for 2022. So I don't know, to me that's sort of, it's mentioned nothing obviously about this meeting. Kind of sounded like the opposite of collaboration to me. It was sort of, it's kind of interesting when we're trying as villages and cities to say, please let's come together and talk, and we're hearing the opposite from township trustees. So I'm hoping that maybe it was ships passing in the night, and maybe those two pieces of mail were, one didn't know about the other, but I'm hoping that those that are here tonight, present or watching, are here because you at least are open and open-minded to considering the proposal that we have come up with. And in fact, that proposal brings more money to 8 of the 14 townships. There are 6, I will admit, that are losing, but we'll get to that. So again, Claremont County itself receives almost 49% of the money that comes from the state. And then the remaining 51%, as I said, is distributed to townships, cities, and villages. What we're proposing is that you take 50% of that, half, and everybody gets their share. You take all of the townships and the villages and the cities, and however many there are, we each get a number, 50%, instead of the 25% that the township trustee model is. And then the other 50% is distributed based on population. So that's the difference between our two plans. The township trustee is 25-75, ours is 50-50. You look at this particular chart, particularly the second to last column, which just shows the variance of the current township plan versus the proposed plan. Yes, the ones in red at the bottom are the 6 townships that are losing some money from the current plan to this plan that we're suggesting. 20, however, entities gain from this plan. 6 are losing, 20 gain. The last column on that chart shows you that even those that are losing some are still gaining substantially from the old plan. That's what the last column on that chart shows. So, for example, Miami Township, they're not gaining as much as they do under the township plan, but compared to what they were getting from the prior to 2019, it's another $35,000 that goes to Miami Township. So they still are gaining. Every township is gaining from the old plan. It's just that the cities aren't losing quite as much as what they are currently. If you go, I gave everybody, I sent in the email, there was a letter, and on there it kind of explained these 6 townships. Miami Township, just as an example, they were given a 70% increase under the township model. It's a 26.6% increase under our model, so another 35. Union Township was an 80% increase under the township model, 32.5% under the plan that we have, and the rest are there. Pierce Township is a 74% increase still versus the 90% increase under the township model. So they're all still doing better than they were under the prior model. We really are trying to be equitable in this. Maybe those 6 townships don't think so, but I think when you look at the amount that they're still gaining, it's equitable in my mind compared to what these villages and cities lost as a result of this township model. not trying to pick on these townships, but presumably, pick on Milford a little, presumably this is why these changes were made 2 years ago, was because townships felt that Milford was being unjustly enriched. Okay, that's certainly an opinion. I think the township model just switches who's being unjustly enriched from Milford to 2 to 4 big townships. And now those are the ones that are doing very well. And as an example of that, under the township model, there are 4 townships that are receiving 51% of the entire amount that the Board of County Commissioners is giving to all 26 entities. 4 of them get over half. Under that township model, the current one we're living under, 72% of the entire amount that's going to the 14 townships is going to 4 townships, 28 to the others. Look at this slide. The last column shows you where the money's coming from. And if you look, who is in red, it's all villages and cities, every one. No township is losing any money from the old plan versus the one that we're proposing. It's still cities and villages that are the ones that are losing. We're just not losing quite as much as we are under the township. I think we took a really huge hit with that township model. I'm not expecting any sympathy from townships. I get it. Everybody's got to look out for their own. I understand that. But that's why I'm finding it hard to understand why the 8 townships that stand to gain under this plan and will benefit from this proposed model, why would not just at least consider it? Because it is a benefit to them. We only need a majority of cities, townships, and villages to pass this proposed formula. That means 2 or 3 townships and it passes. I'd love to have all of them. I'd love to have everyone look at this and say, okay, maybe this is a little more fair considering the big hit that these cities took. One thing that I think is very important is I've heard that there is some concern that if we adopt this new formula, that we will then go back to Milford having one of the 3 votes. I don't know that that's true. Thought there were 2 separate issues, but if it is, so be it. We're not proposing a change to the status quo in that regard. Even Milford's mayor would love to, but she's here supporting this plan, and that's not part of the plan to go back to Milford having its own vote. That was never the case. In that packet that the Township Trustees Association sent to some of us, there is actually legislation that that can be passed that would then again exclude Milford from having that 3rd vote. And I can send that to everybody after this also. We're not trying to pull one over. That's fine. We expect that to continue in place. And you know, Milford continues to be the big loser in this. They're losing the most, 114,000, even compared to the old models, what they're losing under our proposed one. Nonetheless, Milford's mayor is here supporting this proposed model because it is a more equitable model than what the township model is. In that 20 of 26 entities affected are doing better under our proposed model. So that is, in a nutshell, what we are proposing. Does any of the mayors that are here that from the cities or villages, if I messed anything up on any numbers or what I've said? All right, I'm trying to be as accurate as possible. So now, are there any questions or comments either from anybody that's here or that is online? Anybody have any questions? Yes, sir. We never got them. Well, oh, you need this? I'm sorry. Yep.
Yeah, I'm John McGraw from Union Township. I'm pretty sure, and Donna Can, who is the secretary of the Township Association, can confirm, but we sent out letters to every village and invited them to the meeting where we were going to discuss the formula, and none of them came. So we went ahead and had the meeting anyway. So we weren't trying to exclude anybody. We were trying to get everybody involved. But I just want to make that clear. I'm pretty sure, and I didn't send the letters out myself, but we can ask Donna Can to confirm that and check with her. But What I'd like to say about the whole formula is the taxpayers all pay into the tax funds the state of Ohio gets. These are supposed to be excess funds the state didn't need, and they sent it back to the villages, the cities, and the townships. The formula we came up with is more of a per capita formula. So each taxpayer in Claremont County gets their equal share of the funds. And I think, like, if you look at the old model, look at what the village of Bethel was getting compared to Pierce Township or Goshen, much bigger entities. And the old formula was really heavily giving money towards the cities and villages, which they were some of the smallest governments in the county. So it didn't really seem to make sense to us. And when the equity was on the other side, I don't remember anybody trying to have meetings and change it around then. It was only till the townships came up with a new formula that all of a sudden the villages and the cities wanted to be involved. Milford was quite happy getting the amount of money they were getting at the time, and I don't blame them. But I don't think it was really fair when you look at the population. Yes, so as you mentioned, there's 4 or 5 townships that are going to get a lot of the money, but that's also where the population is. I mean, Union Township makes up over 25% of the population of the county. So it only seems fair that the residents of Union Township should get their fair share. And I'm also concerned, even under the new formula, let's look at Shiloh, Neville, Moscow. These small entities are going to get even more money, and they probably shouldn't even exist. I think Shiloh, like, the population is like 100 people. Does it make sense to give them a big chunk of money? I mean, they probably shouldn't even exist. That some of these small villages can't even have people run for the offices. But that's a whole nother issue. But I think by going 50-50, you're going to give even more money to these smaller villages that really makes the dollars per person really go out of balance. And I just looking at under the 50-50 plan, Loveland, which only has 2,236 people in Claremont County, is going to get $15 per person, where Union Township is going to drop down to $3.50 per person. So when you look at it on a per person basis, it doesn't make sense to me to keep heavily weighting just based on you have a government, so you should get a chunk of the money. So that's why we came up with the per capita plan, so each resident got their fair share. And that was the reason behind it. And unfortunately, if you do it that way, there are certain townships that have the bigger population, and so more money is going to go to them. But I think it's only fair that each person gets their fair share. So, but I do want to point out that we really did try to invite everybody in to talk about this more. And I'm here tonight because I want to talk about it. And, you know, if we come up with something that's more equitable, I'm okay with it. But I would like to explain at least where this came from. And this is for the county to answer too, but 48% of the money goes to the county. You know, maybe they could look at that and say, you know, maybe we can help out some of these villages, you know, with some of that money. And I'm, you know, Mr. Painter's here tonight, and I appreciate that, but that's something the commissioners would have to answer to and talk about. But that's something I think would be fair too, is, you know, why 48% go to the county? So we're fighting over the other 51%. So hopefully we can get an answer to that. But also, just on a statewide basis, our state reps, which I don't know if anyone on the call or not, but, you know, we need our state government to have more local funds to begin with. We shouldn't be fighting over, I feel like we're fighting over scraps of meat, and we shouldn't be like in this position. We all want to work together and have a great county. We really appreciate the relationship we have with Milford and all the other cities. We have mutual aid. We all work together. We have a great county, but there's a lot of good things going on. I hate to have it come down to where we're fighting over this amount of money, and maybe there's a way to get more money into it so we don't have to fight over it. That's all.
I guess what I would say with regard to the invite, I believe you if you sent them out. I know I didn't get it, and I know other villages did not get it because we've talked about it. So and we didn't get this letter that came out on the 16th either. One did. that I'm aware of, but none of the others. You did get it? Yeah, I did not. I know Batavia did not. Milford did not. So yeah, I don't know if it's hit or miss or what, but maybe we need to work on our distribution list. With regard to the per capita and what's fair, I mean, I think if that were the only criteria, then that would be what everyone would do. There are so many different plans, and every county has something different, because that's not necessarily the be all and end all of how this money should be divided. It's supposed to be based on need. I would argue that some of your biggest populated townships probably need it much less than some of the others, given the real estate property tax that those townships are able to bring in. So that can't be the only answer. And it isn't for, I don't think, most counties around the state. There's so many different formulas out there that are trying to come up with what seems fair, and that part of that's fair. I don't think that that's the only indicia. But are there other questions? How do I do that? I do that? Oh, all right. If you're on Zoom, turn off your mic and give your question.
Hi, it's Donna Can.
Hi, Donna. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm a little offended with people saying that they don't get notification from the Township Association. I just mailed out on March the 19th, 9 certified letters to all of the villages. I did not send one to Loveland, but the other 9 villages that are still existing did get certified letters. And to date, I have received 9 signed cards back that they did receive the letter. Now, getting back to the first meeting that we had, I believe it was February of 18 or 19. Letters were also mailed out there. I do my job as the Secretary Treasurer of the Township Association. So people are saying they're not being notified. I don't know where their mail is going, but it does go out. If anybody wants to see my certified receipts, I have them for all years that this has been going on. I didn't throw them away. So that's my statement.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else have a statement to make? If you do, you can take it off, open up your volume and speak. Do we have Larry?
Yes, I was just curious why somebody felt villages and cities should no longer exist. I think local government is more efficient than bigger government. And I think there has been a concerted effort over time for townships to phase out villages, cities, if you will. But the village and city residents are the ones that really are the heartbeat of the location. So where we live or reside in New Richmond, for example, has a very rich history with the Underground Railroad, the river, etc. New Richmond has not benefited from years for the monies that have been distributed to Union Township, Miami Township, and all the business development that has gone on there. So I think it's a little disingenuous to say that villages and cities do not warrant a little bit of the money that is being distributed, because they have been shortchanged, in my opinion, for a long time.
Okay, thank you, Larry. Any other comments or questions? Either.
Larry, what I was trying to point out was, this is John McGraw again. Shiloh, 100 people. Neville, 100 people. Moscow, 200 people. I'm not saying all villages and cities should go away, but those are 3 that probably should. And New Richmond, under the old formula, was getting over $76,000 for, I don't know your current population, but I think it continues to drop. And I hope for good things for New Richmond. I think there's a lot of potential down there. You could have a lot of development down there. And I think it would be something that would be beneficial to the whole county because it's a great place. But for many, many years, you got a lot of money from this fund and a lot more than a lot of the townships did. So to say you haven't benefit, I think you need to read the numbers and see what you got in the past years.
Well, and under this proposed model, New Richmond is still losing. They're only going to be getting 35, which is less than half of what they had gotten in the past. Are there any comments, any other comments or questions or any other online, Amy? All right, none other here. Anybody have anything you want to say? All right, well, I mean, I appreciate everybody that showed up. I appreciate everybody. Yes.
Yeah, Mayor Bailey, could you outline the action steps for people on the call? I assume that this is a decision made by the county commissioner. So what action steps would you and the team deem appropriate?
Actually, what needs to happen is each village and township and city need to pass legislation, and whatever the majority of city, villages, and townships decide, that is what goes to the county commissioners, and then it's up to the county commissioners. If they accept that, they get a vote, or we get a vote. And so what we need, I believe there are 25 entities, right, Travis? So we need, if this is the model we want, we need resolutions passed by 13 cities, villages, and townships to make this particular proposal pass. I did attach a draft resolution both for townships and for villages and cities to the original email. So I would ask that you consider this and then take that back to your city, village, or township and make a decision as to which way you want to go. If we do also need to pass legislation that excludes Milford from having a vote, that was attached to this letter that apparently went out on the 16th from the townships. I can also scan it in and send it because I did get a copy of it. But that is the process. And everyone now has my email and my phone number. I'm perfectly happy and willing to answer any questions or take any other comments after tonight. If anybody has anything else you want to discuss when you're trying to make your decision on what to do here. August is when we have to have this in, when it has to be decided. I know this is going to be put on Loveland's agenda sooner than later. The Township Trustees Association apparently thought there was great need to move forward quickly because that's what the March 16th letter says, is to pass your resolutions immediately. So I'm hopeful that that didn't happen and that some of these townships listen tonight and are going to consider this proposal. I would say the sooner the better to just get it, think about it, get your comments, questions, whatever lined up if there are more, and let us answer them. And then go ahead, and if you know whatever direction you want to go ahead and do it so that the commissioners know what we're doing. Any other questions or comments? All right, well, I thank you all. But yes, John. Donna, if you are still on here, John Thibault would like to know if you got a green card back from the village of Batavia. And he'd like to know who signed for it if you did.
Hold on a minute. Am I on? Village of Batavia, a J Waite, W-A-I-T-E.
Oh, you're getting a thumbs up. So they did receive it, but it didn't go to the mayor. So he never saw it. So that's part of the issue, I guess. Thank you. Thank you, Donna.
You're welcome.
All right. Any other questions or comments? All right. Well, I thank you all very much for your attention and for showing up tonight. Appreciate it.